Good morning, guys. It's Miss Price. I wanted to get on here and introduce Unit 2. I know that, yeah, for you to be getting this video, you're at home too, just like I am. But um, uh, I want you to just follow along. This first chapter, I think I'm going to, read chapter 1 with you, and then I want you to work on a page that will be for a grade, and I will send that to you in Google Classroom as well on Cami, and you just have to go in and click the button. You'll see it. I'll explain it to you, okay? Now, what we're going to do, we're going to kind of skip the timeline. I'm going to go over that with you later in the week when I can go over it with the whole class, and I'll have you a Google Meetup so you can get on and do this with us in class, okay? So I'm not going to do the timeline right now. Um, and another thing we're not going to do is this map. You're going to need colored pencils and all that. We'll do the map together also in class, and I'll have that on. If you don't have a workbook, in front of you, I will put that on Google Classroom and Cami. So it'd be an easy fill in, and I can see that, okay, later. But I want us to look at chapter 1, the vocabulary for chapter 1. Um, and anytime you see, let me just say this, that anytime that you see um, BCE, that's before the Common Era, or CE is the Common Era. Um, that's what that means. And the first the first set of vocabulary words for this new unit um, are right here. There are 11 of them, and the first chapter is the rise of early American civilizations. The first word is domesticate. It's a verb to raise and train animals to live around humans. Irrigate is a verb to supply water using pipes and channels. Flourish is a verb to be successful. Isthmus is a noun. It's a narrow piece of land that connects two larger pieces of land. Diverse is an adjective made up of different people or things. Lush is an adjective, healthy and full. Cenote is a noun. It's a natural well formed from a sinkhole. Descendant is a noun, a relative of someone who lived in the past. Empire is a large territory or group of people under the total control of one ruler or government. Sieve is a noun, a tool with small holes for separating big and small pieces. Textile is a noun, a woven or knit fabric. Okay, so let's look at our reader here. Chapter 1, the rise of early American civilizations. And the big question here is we're going to be looking at geography. So, what were the key geographical features of the regions in which the Maya, the Aztec, and Inca civilizations developed? So, be thinking of the geography aspect of um, each of these civilizations, okay? All right, outstanding of the history of humans living and working together begins in Africa more than 1 million years ago. Over time, humans began to migrate and eventually inhabited 6 continents: Africa, Asia, Europe, Australia, and the two Americas, North and South America. For many thousands of years, early hunter gatherers traveled from place to place. They fished, hunted animals, and gathered wild plants. Between 12,000 and 5,000 BCE, some groups of people established more permanent villages. Often, these village based societies relied on farming, raising their own crops for food. Some learned to domesticate animals. Over time, animals were used for more than food in some regions. They helped people plow and fertilize the soil. They supplied milk and provided wool for clothes. As people settled down to farm, their lives changed. People learned to irrigate fields. They developed ways to store food. Populations grew. or excuse me, between 4000 and 2000 BCE, towns and villages in various places developed into cities. People constructed buildings and worshipped gods. They made pottery and wove cloth. The city dwellers chose leaders and developed laws. Some people governed and others served. Civilizations were born. Civilizations developed from Africa to the Americas. The earliest civilizations arose in fertile river valleys in Africa and Asia. These civilizations flourished along the banks of the Nile, the Indus, the Yellow, the Tigris, and the Euphrates rivers. By 1000 BCE, new civilizations arose in the Americas. These early American civilizations are called pre Columbian civilizations. This is because they developed long before Christopher Columbus's first voyage to the Americas in 1492. Three of the pre Columbian civilizations were the Maya, the Aztec, and the Inca. Okay, so Mesoamerica, it's the Maya and the Aztec. Mesoamerica or Middle America was home to the Maya and the Aztec civilizations. This region lies north of the equator in an area called the tropics. It includes a portion of present-day Mexico and North America and parts of Central America. It occupies much of the isthmus that joins the continents of North and South America. The present Central American countries of Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, El Salvador, Nicaragua, and northern Costa Rica are all part of Mesoamerica. Mesoamerica has very diverse landscapes, including dry coastal deserts and wet inland rainforests. The Yucatan Peninsula is surrounded by water on three sides. It lies between the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean Sea and was home to many Maya, warm, humid rainforest over the southern part of the peninsula. Its lush vegetation supports animals as varied as jaguars, snakes, bats, monkeys, toucans, and quetzal birds. The northern part of the Yucatan is drier and has no rivers, only lakes and swamps. The Yucatan's thousands of deep cenotes supply fresh water to the area, water needed in order for settlements to develop. Maya descendants are still there, living alongside the ruins of the ancient civilization. The Aztec created a magnificent empire with cities under one central government. This empire began north of the Yucatan Peninsula in the Valley of Mexico and extended across much of central Mexico. Surrounded by mountains and volcanoes, it was a land full of wildlife. The wildlife is still there, but only ruins of pyramids mark the landscape with the remains of the Aztec civilization. South America, which is the Inca. The Inca civilization began high in the Andes Mountains of present day Peru. It grew to include parts of Ecuador, Bolivia, Chile, and Argentina. The landscape and climate vary greatly across this enormous stretch of land. Deserts and warm valleys lie beneath frigid, snow capped peaks. Llamas and alpacas are native to its mountain areas. These long necked animals were domesticated to carry heavy loads and provide wool. Cougars and chinchillas also share this habitat, with a wide variety of birds, amphibians, and fish. Clues to past civilizations. Archaeologists have discovered much of what we know about the Maya, the Aztec, and the Inca. Archaeologists study the remains of past civilizations. They study the land where ancient people lived, test the soil, and take photographs. They also map out areas to excavate or dig for artifacts. Archaeologists use shovels, scoops, brushes, and sieves to search for evidence of past human activity. Flaked stone, ceramic shards, bones, and textiles are all tell a story. Spanish letters and records also provide information about early American civilizations. Why were the Spanish in the Americas? Starting about 500 years ago, they came in search of riches. They were looking for gold and silver, spices and silk, adventure and conquest. Okay, Spanish conquest in the Americas. Hernan Cortez and Francisco Pizarro, distant cousins, were two early Spanish explorers. They sailed on separate expeditions from Spain to the Americas in the early 1500s. These Spanish conquistadors or conquerors were both interested in more than riches. They wanted to establish colonies for the Spanish king. They brought with them advanced weapons, new animals, and unfortunately devastating European diseases. Cortez conquered or took control of the Aztec Empire in present day Mexico. Pizarro conquered the Inca in present day Peru. The Spaniards imposed their language and religion on the native people. The Spanish wrote about their early experiences in the Americas. As you explore these chapters, you will learn about the history of these three pre-Columbian civilizations: the Maya, the Aztec, and the Inca. Okay? And tomorrow we'll read Golden Age of the Maya, but I want us to look at, and that was really quick, guys, just a fast read. This is going to be here for you to go back and look at your answers if you need to. If you don't have your reader, your Unit 2 reader or your Unit 2 workbook, it's all here for you on um, Google Classroom here, okay? Again, we're going to do the timeline and the map later in the week. So we're going to kind of just go through all that there. And here in the workbook too is what you're going to need to answer these next few questions. Page 9 right here is what is going to be for a grade. And again, all you have to do, that's really neat how the workbook, how the authors have done this right here. This right here is where you're going to find your answers for all of these questions on page 9, those two pages, pages 7 and 8 in your workbook, okay? So the rise of early American civilizations, this geographical features of different regions. I want you to, you've got to, okay, the Valley of Mexico surrounded by mountains and volcanoes. Is this the Maya, the Aztec, or the Inca? You're going to write the Maya, the Aztec, or the Inca. Snow-capped peaks, deserts, and warm valleys. Which one is it? Warm, humid rainforest and deep snoots. Is it the Maya, the Aztec, or the Inca? So you're going to have, each one of them is going to have their name's going to be on one of these. Does that make sense? You're going to write one of the three. And just look right here, one of these pages right here. Okay? Those two pages. Also at the bottom, each one of these is going to be used once. A, B, C, D, or E. You just have to put, okay, which one is it? You're going to read each of these and put A, B, C, D, or E. Okay? So there's really 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 questions here. So make sure that you are looking in these two pages to find your answers, okay? Because if you miss one, it could bring it down pretty low. So there's only 8. All right. But it's a pretty simple grade, pretty simple A, I would say. But feel free to go back in the video, look back in the reader. I'm going to send that too, okay, to help you out. The map and the timeline we'll do later. We're going to do it together as a class. All right, so be prepared to be on a Google Meet Thursday when we do the timeline and the map together. So when you have your normal reading class during that time, be on a Google Meet then, okay? Hopefully all of you are well. Sorry you're out for whatever reason, but look forward to seeing you soon, okay, guys? Talk to you later. Send me a message if you need me, okay? I'm going to send this here just a moment. Bye.